Okay, so today's tomato review is going to be on the Violet Jasper. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this tomato. And zoom you out. As you can see, it's got this beautiful striping pattern to it, which almost looks golden, a golden green color over this pink background. It's a beautiful tomato. Unfortunately, my plants didn't make it this year. I only got a couple off this plant. Some of them are still green. I got to let them ripen. This is about the first one that's ripe, so I figured I'd get this review in early. But this is an absolutely gorgeous tomato when they grow. I think I did a review on it last year and I didn't really care for the taste, but I think this year maybe it'll taste a little better. But as you can see, it's got these nice dark green shoulders on top, and those shoulders blend into this gorgeous looking striping pattern. If I can get you up close. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous, guys? Look at that. Now, if I remember correctly, a lot of these tomatoes were elongating a little bit, so they weren't totally round like this. Like I said, the plant died early, so maybe it would have developed a little longer, a little bit more elongated, but this is what we got so far this year, and let's cut it open. And yeah, this is about the general size for them. They don't normally get too much bigger than this. They do get a little bigger than this, but not much. This is about the biggest they get. Now you can see that the inside of that tomato is very dark. It's a very dark color on the inside. It's very characteristic of this tomato. It's got the green around the seeds. It's a bi-chambered tomato. It's only 2 chambers for the seeds. And you can see there's wilding in the rind. I can't point it out because it's so close to the camera that I'll knock things over if I get in there. And it's just a beautiful tomato inside and out. It's got a wonderful looking inside. So let's put this down and give it a taste test. Give you a closer look there, a better light with 1/2. See how dark those seeds are? Incredibly dark for such a light colored tomato. But let's give it a go. Okay, so far, from that little bit that I ate, we'll talk about taste first. Taste was more tangy than sweet, but not overwhelmingly tangy. I would say the tanginess was probably like 45 on there. 40 was very close to being 50% tangy, meaning 50. When I say 50% tangy, that is very tangy. That's very unpleasant. That's an unpleasant experience. Anything 50 or more in a tang, you don't even want to eat it. So this was getting close. I'd say it was 40, 45 on a tangy. Not real bad, but it's getting up there. I normally like my tangy around 30, 35. Same with the sweetness, 30, 35. Maybe a little more on the sweetness is good. With that, usually that mix right there in between that is beautiful. This wasn't very sweet. 20% on the sweetness. Was more tangy than sweet. In between that was all the water taste. And it did have a stronger tomato taste that followed up between that, which isn't bad. I don't mind that tomato flavor. Tomato flavor was pretty good. Not much undertones to it that were unpleasant. There was a little bit of an undertone, but nothing really for me to squawk about. Just, it was a little something there, but it was still a pretty pleasant experience. Let me eat the last piece of this. Again, it's the same thing. The rind was a little bit chalky on it this year. I don't know if they were chalky last year. They're a little bit chalky. Not a big deal. You could get by that if you're making it in salsa, or you know, you're putting it in a blender or something. You're gonna make tomato juice with it. Not a big deal. But yeah, I need to mention that though. It was a little bit chalky. Again, taste, it wasn't bad, but it was a little more tangy than I would like it to be in relation to the sweetness. I don't mind the tang in that range, 40, 45 even, providing the sweetness is there to balance it. Sweetness just wasn't there. Sweetness was definitely low, 20, maybe 25. The rest was water, and it had a good flavor of tomato that was in between it. Nothing foul about it. Maybe a little bit of an undertone of something, maybe a little weird, but not enough for me to really say that, hey, it had a strong undertone, it's going to make you freak your guests out. Nothing like that. So it's a pretty good tomato to grow. I will grow them again next year. We'll try to grow them in the better conditions, new soil, new everything. So hopefully next year we'll get a better crop and a better review for it. But this year I can't rate it that much higher than a 3, 1 being the highest. I'm going to give it a 3. Wasn't nothing to brag about. The colors, the reason why I even given it 3 is the colors on it is absolutely beautiful. They would make a great table piece if you're putting them out for dinner and you got your guests coming over and you want to be fancy with a nice fancy looking tomato. These tomatoes got that attribute to them. They're an eye catcher. So for that reason, plus they are a pretty good producer. If you grow them in the right soil and they don't get diseased, they do produce quite a bit of tomatoes. So you will get a nice harvest from them. And other than that, I can't really say too much more about it. But the Violet Jasper is definitely a tomato I would definitely grow again. And I would recommend you give them a try. You might be able to grow them in your area and they may taste a little bit different because of your soil and your elevation and your humidity and environment altogether. You may get a better or different tasting tomato. But this year we're rating it as a 3. Wasn't bad. I'll grow them again next year. We'll see if we can come up with it. Alright, so that's it for your tomato review for the Violet Jasper. If you like this review, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.